All right. Okay. Well, it's about our time. Give everybody a little grace and let's start up. So welcome to everyone who's joining us on this Lunch and Learn series with Caribbean Connect and Borderlink Resources. You know, we're all about building communities through learning and development and really changing culture, right? To become more a learning culture. You know, when we learn by doing, when we learn by interacting, you know, we learn so much better. We build character, and knowledge is power, as we see. So this is our mantra: knowledge is power. Me saying that, let me introduce myself. I know a number of us, well, I think a number of us know who I am. My name is Shivani Sinarain. I'm a trainer by profession. Project management, PMP, is, I'll say, my cup of tea or my cup of coffee. You know, I train facilities management, project management, professional certifications, Six Sigma, many different training. And then we've started an online platform, Caribbean Connect, that really provides a lot of information and knowledge. So as you know, we go throughout, I'm hoping that you keep checking the website and you see a lot of interesting learnings that you can gravitate towards. So that's a little bit about myself. Shivani is my name, and I wish to say thanks to everyone who's joining us here today at lunchtime. So here we go, right? Please feel free to type anything you want in the chat, or if you want to just, you know, stop at any point and ask a question, right? It's a very interactive session that we want to have here today. It's not only me talking, and I know a couple of persons already here who are talkers, like Adwin and Trisha, you know, I'm seeing Rihanna and many different persons who I know will be asking loads of questions. So please do that, please do that. So we're here to have a discussion on value stream map. So let me ask, anybody ever heard about the term? What do you know about the term value stream map? Do you know anything about it? Laverne, anything you want to say? Yeah. Are you eating and listening, or are you driving and listening? What you doing?
Hi, I'm about to drive now.
So you can't be drinking coffee like me and driving. So it means that you can't be drinking and driving, right? So, but you're listening.
I'm listening. I just started the class, so I'm now going to drive.
So have you ever heard about the term value stream map? Have you ever heard about it?
To be honest, no, but I kind of like looked into it in regards to what it is, and from what I got, it indicates that it is more or less the value that you get from actually interacting from the first interaction with a customer all the way to the end in terms of delivering a product or service.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. You know, this many times you're in a line, you're waiting long, and you want to know why you're waiting for some coffee, you're waiting for some tea, and you can't get it in time, and you realize, well, wait, now what's really happening here? So value stream map, in a nutshell, really looks at all of the processes with ordering something, I should say, or well, not really ordering, but giving something to the customer, right? Or producing a product. It could be in manufacturing, it could be making coffee, it could be making tea, it could be in your work processes. I do a value stream mapping a lot in facilities management by me. I'll do it in business. So it is a technique that will allow persons to quickly see what is going wrong, because are you really getting value for money too? If you're a business person, you're an entrepreneur, or you are looking at in your job, are you really getting value for money? And how do you do that? Because you have to look at processes. You have to look at what are the processes, all of the processes. And sometimes when you map all of the processes, you may realize that, wait, this process doesn't make any sense, or this process is taking too long and we need to probably do something about it. So many times you'll hear business people looking at, well, I'm not making enough money, or I'm not doing something right, or why it is I'm not getting the information from Tom or Harry, they're taking long. But I always ask people, do you know all of the processes that really is involved in getting your product to market, whatever the product is? Do you have that knowledge of all of the processes? I'm also seeing some people here on the call from an IT background, and yeah, you might be in development a website, and you find that the customer is not getting the information on time, whatever product it is. So you may have to map all the processes now. And then by only mapping the processes, you could really see value added and non-value added activities. And that is what value stream map is, it's really looking at, and as we said, Keith is saying, Keaton, is it similar to process flow mapping, but looking at the value added aspect of it? And you're right, that's what it is, value added. Now, you would hear that term quite a lot now, value added. Value added is like a buzzword, you always have these kind of buzzwords. Value added is a buzzword now. So as we start the little slide deck here, we're really looking at what are all of the processes, whatever you are looking at. I'm going to do an example with coffee making, because everybody who knows me know I like coffee. And we look at the processes probably for a business, and then you could see what is adding value, what is not adding value, and then you could make certain decisions from it. Now, this value stream mapping, as we say, the first thing, you list your processes, and then you see what you are getting value from those processes or not, what is adding value or not adding any value to you. When you look at the process map, you definitely might be able to come about with decisions that you have to make. It may be that there are persons, this process is wasting time. What about the individual that is doing that process too? You might realize that you don't need that individual anymore, or things have changed and you may need to revamp, you may need to pivot. Another favorite word of mine, you may need to pivot and change. So, keep this term in mind, a value stream map. Keep this conversation to the top, because that's what we're here to do. Is it a process flow? Do you know all the processes in order to get your product to market? If it is a product, because we're taking this for entrepreneurs, but you could do value stream mapping in manufacturing. As I said, I do it in my job in facilities management, in projects, whatever projects that it is. So here we go. And a couple of persons already said yes. So a definition, and you all sort of put it already into some perspectives. So as I said, for persons who are just joined in, feel free to type anything you want in the chat. If you want to ask a question, you can just open your mic at any point. Lunch and learn, right? So value stream map. To understand value stream mapping, we need to first understand what a value stream is. Simply put, a value stream is a series of steps that occur to provide the product or service that the customers want or need. In order to provide the product or service that the customer desire, every company has a set of steps that are required. Value stream mapping enables us to better understand what these steps are, where the value is added, where it's not, and more importantly, how to improve upon the collective process. Value stream mapping provides us with a structured visualization of the key steps and corresponding data to understand and intelligently make improvements that optimize the entire process, not just one section at the expense of another. And I like this point, because many times people do things in silos. You say, okay, well, this process is not working, and you just eliminate the process. By doing things like that, you are not looking at the entire thing as a whole. You have to look at all the processes and see which one is adding value and which one is not. You know the term synergy, where the sum is greater than its parts. Synergy, where the sum is greater than its parts. So a value stream mapping, in a nutshell, everybody, it's outlining all the processes for what you need to do, whatever you are producing. As I said, my example will be on making coffee for the customer. You think about any example. If you're washing a car, you're making a cake. In my case, in facilities, might be changing a bulb, right? In projects, might be move management. You know, what are the processes? So what are the steps? If you want to say, what are the steps to do it? So a value stream mapping. Value stream map for a coffee shop. You could do a value stream map for as many processes in the organization as you need. Let's look at coffee making. Let's look at coffee making. And anybody, you know, who's into, anybody's into coffee making, got any coffee shops here on this call? Anyone? No? Take it no, right? So you could advertise it, you know, we'll come and have coffee and stuff. Kimberly? No, not you? Looking to see who's on the call here. Right. Not into coffee. Or Adwin, you're not into coffee, so you're into tea then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, but I'm sure you know about this. So you so then after this conversation, you'll do one for tea, a tea shop. Roasting beans. So step one is roasting beans. All right, I missed, yeah, step one. Step two is to grind the beans. And then step three, brew the coffee. And then step four, give to the customer. So I broke it up into 4 steps. Of course, you may have more, right? But we're just looking at it from in a small way. Where, let me go back. You have to roast the beans. You have to grind the beans. You have to brew the coffee. And you have to give to the customer. Now, after each step, indicate a process metric, which means how long it takes to do one iteration. You know, one iteration of a given topic or whatever it is you're doing. Process metric. So let's look at it now. So step one, roast beans. Step two, grind beans. Step three, brew the coffee. And step four, give to the customer. So as we said, what is the PT again? You remember?
Process metric.
Yeah, your process metric, right? Your time then. And we say to roast the beans, it's 2 hours. Grind the beans, you're going to take 15 minutes. To brew the coffee, you're taking 5 minutes actually. And to give to the customer 5 minutes again. So 2 hours, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. So my question is, you know, how would you get this in and value stream mapping when you it's really collection of data? How would you get 2 hours, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes? This is where you will have to go and look at how time is, you know, what people are doing. Or you do it for yourself. And we always see that, especially even in whatever environment, you work the system and you do it so that you can see for yourself. So if it is a coffee shop or whatever it is, your business, you should do it. You should roast the beans, grind the beans, brew the coffee and give to the customer. And then you could look at the timeline. You work it as if you're the customer or you're the employee. But if you're not doing it that way, what you can do is to just look at, you're just looking at somebody doing it and you work over a period of time. So you're collecting data, which is a very important point in value stream mapping. It's collection of data. And I'd like to also, you know, just share a little more on that, which is data collection. You need to collect the data and you need to analyze the data. You need to do data representation, and then you're going to turn it into knowledge. Because many times people have data And they don't do anything with the data, you know, and we're hearing the term over and over. I hear it all the time in projects, in anywhere, in business and all different things. Oh, we becoming more data-driven, data-driven. And I tell people, I say, yes, we're becoming no more data-driven. What are you doing with the data? Have you turned the data into knowledge? Have you made certain decisions? But you can't, they just complain. But there is a system in place to do it. So we talk in processes, we talk in collect the data, then we say, let's do something about it. This is how you make decisions. And then you're not looking at the process in a silo, you look at it as a whole. The other term is, and we'll do some more lunch and learn series on that, which is product-based thinking. Product-based thinking. I don't know if anybody here was on the lunch and learn when we did design thinking. Design thinking is whatever you're doing, you are doing it for the customer or the client. So you always have to design something with the end user in mind, which is understanding the value stream mapping. Roast beans, what type of beans does the customer want? The grind beans, the brew coffee, they give the customer. So that's another topic, design thinking and product-based thinking. The value base allows me to make decisions. All of these things allow me to make decisions. And that's why we keep saying, are you having a data-driven culture? People saying that. You've seen it in organizations, you've seen it in, you have consultants here, you've seen it in different areas. And then you have, in business, data, you have data, but what are you doing with the data? Nobody converting it into knowledge, but we keep talking about a knowledge-based economy, right? So value stream map for a coffee shop, roast beans, grind beans, brew the coffee, give the customer. Great. And we said the PT is the process metric, the metric that you're going to measure this thing by. So 2 hours, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, and 5 minutes again. Then you have to talk about value, you know. What is the value of something? Let me run this in a slideshow. I now realize I didn't do that. Now, what is the value that you are giving to your customer? The value, right? Let me just move my, right, sorry. You. Great. Oh, and a T person is Kimberly too. I'm now seeing you put you're a T person. So volume, do you know the volume? So you have to also look at volume and error rate when you are doing this, right? Volume and error rate. Certain things for smaller items, I may leave out certain things, right? And you will decide as we go through slide by slide. So volume and error rate. Error rate, and this one I like. Error rate lets you know how often you make mistakes in a process. Example, if the coffee was done incorrectly, you will have to redo the entire process. So looking at this now, you are seeing error rate of 5% in roasting beans, and you may have to do it obviously over a period of time, because you can't just watch one thing and say, yes, that's it. You have to look at it after a period of time. So the error rate is 5%. Grind beans, well, we got 0% error rate. Look at it, when you are brewing coffee, the error rate is 25%. And the volume, the error rate of given to the customer is 5%. Of course, this is data. You mightn't do anything with the data. Then you are seeing volume. Now we're adding volume. And then we'll talk about wasting time and non-wasting time. Roasting beans, grinding beans, brewing the coffee, and giving to the customer. Volume now. Right. Let me get back. So you're seeing a volume, you're seeing an error rate, and you're seeing this 1 hour, 8 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 1 hour. Let's see what this means now. This is your value added time, right? Your value added time now. And I'm getting a value added time of 4 hours and a non-value added time of 8 hours and 32 minutes. This process tells you that you are spending more time waiting than doing something that is of value added to the customer. Let's go back. So you have 1 hour in roasting the beans, 1 hour in grinding. So this is the waiting time. Sorry, the value. And then you are seeing the 8 hours, the 30 hours, the 2 minutes. Just a little example here, and we want to go more into it.
Excuse me, Ms. Ryan, can you repeat how you got the volume, how you worked out the volume?
Well, volume is just looking at what people, the amount of roasting beans in 2 hours. That's how much you could do, half of it.
Oh, so you would know every process is different. You would know in 2 hours the volume that you roast.
Yes, correct.
Okay, all right.
Good. So Aksam, yeah, just come in the convo, please. So you're saying this is the value added time, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, 4 hours. There you go again. You're roasting the beans, the manager. So you're looking at you're looking at the whole process, right? From the manager roasting the beans to the customer, grinding the beans, brewing the coffee, giving the customer, and handing it to the customer now. You're looking at the manager have to check the grind beans, manager has to visual checks brewing the coffee, handing off. So you're looking at the relationship then between the individuals and actually giving it to the customer, because it's people to do the activities. And to me, this is where wasting time and value and non-value really comes in. So you see the manager arguing with the customer concerning roasting the beans. The customer placed the order in the shop, right? So that's what happened when it takes probably an hour to place the order to get it to the customer. With this value stream map, you could communicate this to a vendor, capitalist, or a business owner that this is something that you need help in, right? That you need help. Where should you focus your efforts? So I'm showing you this again. Where would you focus your efforts here? Like if you just see this, you really know too much, value added, non-value added, where would you focus your efforts? Anyone? Where would you focus your efforts in? Yeah, Natasha, if you just see this just like that, where would you focus your efforts in? Just at a quick glance, you know?
Well, I'm wondering if it should be closer to giving the customer the product, or we could try to be more efficient in the beginning of the process in roasting and grinding the beans, because there's a lot of time being spent there.
Okay, right. So you might look at the time waste. But you see this 8 hours is wasted non-value time between roasting the beans and grinding the beans. Yeah, they're arguing or something is keeping it back.
Yeah.
So you might look at focusing here. Yeah. Where again? Anyone? Trisha, where would you focus? Aldwin, where would you focus?
I would definitely look at eliminating all the dead time and overlapping the value time to the customer where possible.
Right.
Essentially to shorten it.
So you're looking at giving anything that is wasted, you're trying to get rid of that.
Completely, yeah. And then overlapping the remaining time to shorten it where possible.
Yeah. Okay, I will do that too.
What about trying to bring down that 25% error rate when we brew in that coffee?
Yeah. Right, good, 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 good. So these are points, these are points. You all are all right, right? Because when you're looking at this data now, you have to analyze it. You have to say, well, roasting the beans, or grinding the beans, or brewing the coffee. But where, as Kimberly's asked, at 8 hours, why did you have that 8 hours? You know, what is causing that? That's a big one. So a quick glance for me, without knowing anything, I'm going to look at the 8 hours if I have to solve. And definitely I'm looking at that 25%. I'm looking at that 25%. But then I think, Natasha, one of you all mentioned, it's in terms of where you spending the most time in getting something to the customer. Now, when you're looking at it like that, you know what you're doing? You're looking at it as a whole. So if I just look at it just so and say 8 hours, that's too much, 30, 25%, that's too much, and then try to make decisions like that, what am I really doing? I'm looking at things in silo. But yes, it has to be done. I'm not saying no. But I want to look at it as a whole. I want to look at it always as a whole. So far, points to get, at 8 hours, 25%, right? But what is there one that is more important than the other? That's another point to look at, you know. When you're making this coffee to the customer, if the beans were not roasted good, or you didn't grind it properly, but could you brew it then good? Or is it that everything relates to the other? Yeah. Then you also mentioned, could I probably do things together? Could I roast and grind together? Could I grind and brew together? I want to look at all those things. Could I? These are the decisions that you have to make. Decisions, yeah. And this is really turning it from what we said, data gathering, to now making sure that you could make proper decisions from it. Right, next slide. Good. So where should you focus your efforts? Probably where has the highest error rate. Example, 25% in brewing coffee. It was done incorrectly each time. Therefore, all the other work and processes were wasted. We therefore need to purchase a brewing machine that is easy to operate, or so that the people making the coffee don't make too many mistakes. Maybe more money for staff training. Money needs to be spent on the 25% error rate to get it close to zero as possible. What do you think about that? What do you think about that in looking at it, and look at the decision that you could make already? Does it make sense? Look at it that way.
I think so, yes.
Right, so you are seeing that you could make a decision. That's what we're trying to get at, you know. At this point, is it the best decision, right? In project management, we will talk it in terms, we talk about it in terms of a decision matrix, you know, and everything leading to something. So a value stream process is you mapping out all the processes. In a nutshell, you're mapping out all the processes, and then you're looking at what is value added, what is non-value added, what is the most error, the heaviest error that you are making. And immediately I'm going to look at, but wait, why is it that I'm making that error? And then I would look at solving it. And the information that we see coming out of the convo would be, people need to be trained properly in using the machines properly and how to brew it. And then there's something else that you need to staff to do staff training. Then you may also look at people are taking too long. They're taking too long, or they're making mistakes with it. So we probably need to get a new machine, a faster machine. Yeah, more commercialized. Great. Right, and you asked for the 8-hour gap. So could it be for cooling? Right, so yeah, I just put an 8-hour gap there to show you something. Yeah. So we're trying to bring down the error rate now from 25%. So you're not, when you bring down that error rate, it's going to do what now? It's going to drop the non-wasted time. Huh? That's what this is. Because when you're brewing coffee, what did we have before? What did we have before? We had the 30 minutes. Yeah. Well, sorry, the 30 minutes, and then you add the 2 minutes. So we're trying to see how do we get rid of that error rate to close as zero as possible, to make less errors, right? Right. So we can then look at the error rate for the roast beans and customers being both 5% and try to get it down to zero with a little extra training and extra money. Next is, what is the slowest thing in the process? Roasting beans, the grinding beans, which takes 2 hours. If there are no more beans, you need to wait 2 full hours. Let's talk that one again. Roasting beans, the grinding beans, which takes 2 hours. If there are no more beans, you need to wait 2 full hours. But with a second roaster, the process can now be 1 hour and the volume is 1, which reduces the non-value added time to 4 hours, or 3 more grinders, reducing the process metric now to 5 minutes, and the volume now equal to 12, because you get 3 more grinders, so you could do 4 by 3, 12. And the non-value added time to 0, and then brewing to customer close to 0. Go back to roasting and then reason through this whole thing again. So go back again. What we're saying here. We were saying, you're seeing 2 hours here, right? With roasting beans to grinding beans as a process metric. And we are thinking what? We are thinking, so we're going to do it with roasting beans to grinding beans. Why is it coming up to 2 hours there? The slowest thing in the process, is it? Roasting beans to grinding, which takes 2 hours. If there are no more beans, you need to wait 2 full hours. But with a second roaster, it now could be 1 hour and the volume is 1, which reduces the non-value added time to 4 hours. Or 3 more grinders, reducing it to 5 minutes. Volume is equal to 12, and the non-value added time to 0. And then you're brewing to customer close to 0, and you go back and you go back and you do the thing again. How did we come about with this? So I'm giving you all a minute to look at it over, and somebody could get in the conversation about it. Natasha, Aldwin, could you just get a little interactive here with the convo, please? Or anyone?
So I was actually thinking when you were talking through that solution of getting more grinders, more roasters, but then what about if after we look at the whole map, when we brew, let's say we roast those beans for 2 hours, can with the roasting process not start over again? Because how long would that coffee last? Right? That first batch of coffee last. Where do I really have to go and invest in a whole new roaster? Because, or am I just wasting time, right? Before I roast a new batch. So I'll have enough, because I don't think I'm just wondering, and
Yeah, talk it out.
How long the coffee would last. So if one batch of coffee lasts 2 hours, let's say, 2 hours. If I were to put on a new set, pardon? To sell, yes,
right.
To sell, right? Because I have to be thinking through these things as well. So one batch of beans after I roast and grind and brew lasts how much time? So that would allow me to know how much time I have before I could roast a new batch. So if I know I have 2 hours, this coffee is going to last 2 hours before it's sold out, then my new beans should be roasted as soon as the first set comes off.
And the same grinder.
Yes, in the same roaster grinder.
Okay, good.
So just looking at efficiency.
Yes, yeah. And that's what you have to do. Yes, you have to do that. Aldwin, anything to share? So good talks. So your decision will not be to buy a new.
Well, it
Buy another
depends. It
one.
depends. If I see that I'm
Yeah.
wasting time and I look at my map, you know, I'm waiting for my coffee to finish before I think about roasting a whole new set.
Yeah.
You know.
Mhm. Good. Yeah, let's hear somebody again, right? Any more conversations to come in? No? Brianna, you want to say anything? Or yeah? Brianna, anything? No?
Sorry, I'm driving. So
Okay, but you're hearing. Good.
yes.
Keith?
Still going straight here.
Right, and then somebody saying that they're coming back in the conversation. Yes, Aldwin, anything you want to share? Aldwin?
No, I'm
But you hear the
generally
point
like,
with what Natasha was sharing with us, right?
yeah, I did, and I'm in agreement with what she shared. For me though, I think a little bit more information is like missing. And it's just typically how I am. I think you might know that. Like,
Yeah.
but I would need a little bit more information, but I do follow the principle.
Yeah, but more information in terms of how much cups of coffee, you know, like that.
Yeah,
Of course, you can
cups,
make, yeah.
cups, flavors, even like how much like what your customer levels are like.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Even if you have variation in like, sorry, like a person might ask for additional again, wherever he's putting coffee in that, like the cream and all of those extras that might form part of the wider equation. So, but yes, but in principle, yes, I agree.
Yeah. So exactly, right? This is just roast beans, grind beans, brew coffee and give to the customer. But now when you're brewing the coffee afterwards, you will have to add different flavors, and then that will form a new process, you know, Aldwin. That will form a new process.
Right.
Adding-
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you want to add flavors, that is definitely going to you may have to have different equipment now to add. So that is
Right,
going
yeah.
to form a new process.
Right.
So
Okay.
from this, you will. This is just a basic little scheme.
Right. Of course.
So roast
Yes,
beans, grind beans, brew coffee, give customer. Yeah. So you want to
Right.
jump in and talk
Yeah.
again?
No, you're right. So if you're looking at the most basic of all your processes, yes.
Yeah.
I can definitely follow, but yeah, allowances would have to be made for variations in product of, well, in this case, it would be a product offering and service offerings as well.
But getting back to your conversation with brewing the coffee now for 10 minutes, for if you want to add, right? Now, this same conversation, if we're looking at you're trying to bring down the brewing coffee procedure.
Mm-hmm.
If you are trying to bring it down now to better value, if you're shortening the time in brewing the coffee, then it could help you to do more flavor coffees.
Right, of course. That's
To give to
yeah.
the customer. So that's a different decision then. That's another decision that could come from just looking at the process, because when I look at the processes here, it might then tell me, well, that brew coffee is taking too long and therefore I can't get it to the customer in time. So if I have to add this next thing now to the process, it's going to lengthen the time. So let me see if between grinding the beans and brewing the coffee, if I could shorten the time there in order to get it. Because at the end of the day, it is to work with shorter time. And the shorter time is given to the customer if it's 5 minutes, 6 minutes. I don't want to increase the processes, the timeline. I may increase the processes to make better value. So what you just said here, it makes me, I add another factor into the equation, which is I'm adding now processes in order to probably change the product. So you use value stream mapping for those things as well. Because many times people now want, let's say it's a phone, and you've mapped out all the processes to make this phone, but now you want a new feature to add to the phone. Are you now going to increase the time that you're going to do that? And then you might say, no, I don't want to increase the time, but one process in making this phone here is taking too long, and I need to do something about that and decrease that time. Therefore, the time now I can take to add the new feature. So people use value stream mapping. So I'm glad you brought it up in the convo one time. People use value stream mapping for that. People use value stream mapping in order to cut down on process time, in order to add another process for the customer, but you want to still finish in a particular time. Make sense, Aldrin?
Yeah, it does indeed, yes.
Right. So some Trisha is saying also, I may want to know what is causing the 25% error in the brewing system. Of course, when you look at this data, you're looking at that. Why is it? And immediately, you know, I may look at that there is a problem with the machine itself. There's a problem with the machine itself. And the problem with the machine is it probably needs a service. That could be a problem too. It needs a service. But this is the decision that I'll make, that I'll try to cut down the error now. And when you cut down the error, you're going to cut down the time. That's what it means. Yes, Kimberly, yes, we're going to share the recording to the participants. Thanks.
Do we have to make a map, a value stream map for every product, or you can just add, like as you said, if I'm just like, let's say I have regular coffee and I have flavored coffees.
Mm-hmm.
Do I make a map for each item, or do I say, okay, well, it's coffee, we have these 4 steps, but then for the flavor, I just have to add 2 more steps? Do we add it into?
Right. So you see what you did there? I will do that. I will create for each product, my product line. You are right. I will do that. Value stream mapping for each product.
Okay.
Know why? Why that will make sense? Because I want to see it at a quick glance, how long
Yes.
each thing is taken. Now think about it. I wouldn't call the coffee shop that I went to and this whole sparked this whole value stream mapping for me to have a lunch and learn and to get people into the convo. But because I waited very long and I saw what could have been done differently, and there was a problem really and truly with the brewing coffee. That time was too long. And then what I realized they were trying to service the machine too. So that time was taking very long. So yes, Natasha, you're looking at your
Each product.
for every product.
Yeah.
And you use the term, which is very correct. It's products-based thinking in looking at your value stream mapping. So I would look at it in facilities management also, as I was telling you all, where I look at all of the steps. If we are doing an electrical service, if we are doing a plumbing service, what are all of the steps? What is adding value? What is non-adding value? In a nutshell, in my example, Natasha, what I found was the value. If you are going out to diagnose a problem, let's say people are going to a particular site to diagnose the problem, and you have to change bulbs. I'm just using a quick example. You have to change the bulbs. You come back and you record now that you need to come back to the base, and yet you didn't have the type of bulbs, right? So to me, not to me, obviously that is wasting time. Yeah, what you needed to do, as I told them, this is in the beginning when we're trying to work out value stream mapping properly. What we realized is that there was the need for a document, which we call it in facilities, a facilities register, that will map every single site now and what are the bulbs, so that if Tobago wants 20 bulbs, immediately I'll know that those 20 bulbs, it's because it's a type of bulb. So people don't have to go to Tobago and then come back and say, well, right, what it is. The point is, I could see immediately what is wasting in the process. So a lot of process-oriented jobs, you do this, facilities, projects, entrepreneurial, business, you're making coffee, you're making tea. It's showing you the value and the non-value added. Now, there's a lot more to break this up further. But for 1 hour, in 1 hour time, what I wanted us to get at is what is the purpose of a value stream map? And the purpose of a value stream map is collecting data to make proper decisions. Collecting data to make proper decisions. I place the error rate there because to me, the error rate is a very important tool, especially if it's new, you know, like new business and something like manufacturing and all of that. You want to look at the error rate and you want to know why. You also want to look at what is the timeline? What is wasting time? The 8 hours there, I saw 8 hours, I saw 30 minutes. How could I break that down to 0, the waiting time? Because that is now increasing the time to the customer. And I look at, should I buy, as you said, Natasha, should I buy another piece of equipment? Yeah, or not, to cut down the waiting time? Is it then that how much am I getting coffee to serve the customer? I don't want to have coffee there just waiting like that, and it's not fresh coffee also. That's what you meant, Natasha, so good. Then you're also looking at new products. If it is a new product, then I'm going to probably adjust the process flow. And yeah, these are things that I have to do. So key takeaways, right? Key takeaways for now, and we'll continue with this and do more value stream mapping and get much more complicated, but more interesting. The key takeaways, tell me what are your key takeaways then? I shouldn't say what are my key takeaways, what are your key takeaways?
So I would say well, I'm definitely getting a sense that the value stream mapping is tied to, I would say, a lean management approach.
Lean management, yes.
Yeah, in terms of attempting to eliminate waste, well, and in this case, inefficiencies from your processes. Yeah, that's what I'm getting out of it. I mean, I've heard about value streams before, but not this particular application.
Good. So you learn a little something in the 1 hour.
Yes, definitely.
Great. Yeah, anybody else get any convo? What are your key takeaways? What you're going to do? Because I'm sure when you leave today, you're going to do one on your own, I'm sure, and you will call me up and you'll let me, and we can work it out together. You know, please feel free to call me up and we'll do one together.
Okay, so my key takeaway is how important it is to do this value stream mapping for every product in your business process, and to just be improving every time, how important it is for improvement in your processes.
Because you mentioned a word there, continuous improvement, Natasha.
Yeah.
Why is that so important? Because I may do this, right? This brew coffee today, and it may be 1 hour that I have saved or something. But in 6 months, wouldn't I probably may have to look at it again in 6 months, because I may bring it down now, but some other factor now increase the time again. Can that happen?
Right. Yes. And that's why it's important to be looking at this right through
job
all the
of somebody.
time,
Yeah,
because you want to basically make things as easy as possible for you in terms of you know, error rate, wasting time, all the different things that would just make life easier in running your business.
Yeah, exactly. And you make money, because at the end of the day, you're not going to go to a place that you're going to take long to get
More
something
efficient,
to eat or drink.
exactly.
Yes.
Mhm.
So it is a lean concept. It's part of the lean value stream mapping. I mean, we do it in Agile, a part of the Agile project management. But what I'm also sharing with us, it is continuous improvement. You are very right. And many times people do things, they look at it at one time and they say, oh yeah, everything good. And then afterwards they realize, but they're losing business and they wonder why. They wonder because you didn't continuously reimagine, because this is going to change. I mean, we should get so many good learnings from COVID, right? Because of this, but somehow I don't think COVID really taught everybody, you know, and we're still going back to the old way of doing things. So roast beans, grind beans, brew coffee, give customer. What we are saying is that this need to be improved. Don't think that I've done it now and bam, this is going to last forever. right? It may improve and, do things again. Somebody saying something again. What are your key takeaways? Anyone? Melanie, I think you were going to say something. What are your key takeaways? Were you? No? Nadia?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, anyone?
Oh, well, my key takeaways is that it's a process that could eliminate so much of wasted time and time that could be channeled into doing another process. So as much as it saves money, I see it as also saving valuable time. And it's something I want to apply into I have an event business I do part-time.
Mhm.
And I see this as something that I can apply there, as well as my full-time job as an analyst.
Business analyst, you are? Yeah, BA?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely value stream mapping isn't that. So we can talk one-on-one and, we could look at it and, anything you want me to, I hope I could contribute.
I want to incorporate it into my event systems as I operate it on a part-time basis because
So
it's
what
more
type
of a
of
service.
events? Events like carnival events, those kind of events, you mean?
No, it's more like destination weddings and stuff. So, you're dealing with a foreign market, and then you have locals as well, and you have to manage time the process of just from the booking process, planning everything straight to the delivery at the end.
Okay.
To streamline the process. So that's something I want to apply with the services.
Yes, and that could happen with a value and a non-value time because that makes the difference, as you said, people booking you or not.
Yes.
Yeah, people, the value of you coming to the event in terms of completing it on time and completing probably some things faster because you may have to do the plan for a 6 months wedding, and you might realize some of your processes, you don't have to be there.
Yes.
Yes, correct?
Yes. Thank you.
Great. So thank you, everyone. If anybody would like to say anything again, feel free. But thank you
very much.
Thank you for participating in the Lunch and Learn. And you all know how to reach me. I hope you could just email me and we can do a little session one-on-one if you want to get more into it. But of course, if you want to really get heavy into it, there's the Agile. Under Agile, there's the Lean Six Sigma. There are many different quality management certifications that you can do in order to do this. So I look forward to seeing you probably in much more. So upcoming next week in our Caribbean Connect and Borderlink Resources Lunch and Learn series, we're going to do it's a yoga session, right? Yoga session coming up. I think Rihanna was on the call here, so it's she'll share a lot of things with that yoga and breathing and things that to help us to be better, right? And then we have some other things coming up in next week. So look forward to seeing you all every Tuesday with different facilitators. Myself coming back again. I want to do a balanced scorecard. We have Agile. We have so many different things. And in between, we have different persons. So we have created a calendar from now until the ending of the year. So I hope to see you all always every Tuesday, Lunch and Learn. Thanks again, everyone. All the best. As we said, we'll share the recording for those of us who came in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Take
All the
care.
best. Bye-bye.